We need to talk here, guys. Lads and ladies, we need to be slightly serious here for just a second, alright? Because something has happened, slightly, I'm pausing the music there, slightly, I don't know, peripherally. It's happened over time, but it's kind of gotten some traction right now. And it's to do with the feeling of the state of the game. Because there's a bit of controversy going around right now. Let's just be honest right now. There's a bit of controversy going around, and it all started with two specific things. And I want to introduce you guys to those two specific things before we actually get into it a bit here. Right? So let me switch over here for a second. The first thing, let me move this. The first thing that we got was, and this is just gonna go play in the background for a little bit. I'll show you the rest and the actual interesting thing. The 6-year anniversary video came out, and it was all hype. Everyone was happy. It was so good. The future of this game was talked about, and that is the point of contention here. That actually is the point of contention, and I didn't actually. Maybe I'm of a very positive mindset, but it didn't actually hit me as a negative thing before the snowballs started to accumulate a lot of snow. Let's just put it like that. Anyways, I'm going to show you guys what exactly was said before we get more into it. So let me put some sound on here real quick.
And it just kept evolving.
Here we go.
The
All these things.
You can expect more great content.
Here we go. There it is.
And Halloween. They all show the status of the world and show the way that it's moving forward.
Looking towards the future, we're excited to keep delivering on the promise of free, engaging episodic
content
in Guild Wars 2.
In Guild Wars 2.
You can expect more great things from us as we move directly from Season 4 into Season 5.
We move directly from Season 4 to Season 5. This is where the controversy arose, right? It's been extended a little bit. But that's about it.
This means more engaging stories that expand the world of Tyria, new maps to dive into and explore, and more gameplay features that change the way the game is experienced.
New maps, new gameplay features, new areas to go to, all the jazz that we all like, we all enjoy, right? It was all good. Wait, hold up. So this came out, and another interview came out. It was great. It was all good and fun and hype and all that jazz. And then yesterday, wait, hold up, if I can. Then yesterday this came out. ArenaNet discusses the life of Guild Wars 2 so far and its exciting future. All right, let me see if I can find this because I've been an idiot. Over the 4 seasons, blah blah blah. That's not what I wanted. Blah blah blah. That's not what I wanted either. We want to look at the future. Here we go. And so on to the future. With Season 4 reaching its conclusion and the promise of a huge finale for players, what can be expected from Season 5? Well, there's the promise of even more significant content, including things that would usually be saved for an expansion, as well as another amazing story. And I love how they do that in quotation marks. It's like, amazing story. I know that's not what they mean. It's supposed to be a quote, but hey, could you not have the citation marks right there? It's unfitting. And another amazing story that will immediately kick off right from the conclusion of Season 4 and take them on a ride. Some of the stuff we're looking as blah blah blah. Basically, a lot of people seem to think that this is basically this is spelling Season 5, the introduction of Season 5 over an expansion 3. Apparently seems to a lot of people to be the doom and gloom, like the end of this game. And I understand where everyone's coming from. I'm not trying to like talk it down or anything. The idea that perhaps we're actually not getting an expansion 3, because I understand where the argument comes from. So what I want to do right now is I want to try my very, very best to lay out the matter objectively, so to speak. To wait, let me, if I can close this, to talk about it objectively, to see if we can kind of put some light onto the subject of whether or not there's any merit to
letting you reach the sub goal.
Thank you, Lixati. I'm just gonna turn off the notifications here for a second because I realized that I kind of forgot that. Wait, let me drag that over here. Right, sound files off. There we go. Sorry about that. But thank you, man. So, why season 5 over an expansion? Now we can look at it in numerous ways, really. Let's go back here for just a second, because I forgot something. And back again. There we go. We can look at it in different ways, right? We can look at it. Okay, there's two, as far as I see it, there are two answers to this question: why season 5 over expansion 3? And there's the positive attitude, which is the game is not dying. They are going to, and I will elaborate further on this. The game is not dying. We're trying to change the game. But there's also the negative side of saying the game is dying. This is ArenaNet literally using the last of their money and all of the leftover funding and whatnot that they have for the expansion to close off the story before shutting the gate. And that's what a lot of people are expecting here to potentially happen, is that ArenaNet is working on Guild Wars 3 in favor of expansion 3, which, and I'll put my bias out here right at the very start. I don't think for a second that there's a chance that Guild Wars 3 will ever happen. I think there is a much more likely scenario that the game company ArenaNet will move on to something entirely new, like an entirely new I was about to say franchise, but you know the actual word, over actually making Guild Wars 3. I personally think, before we dive into the different subjective opinions or however we'll put it, I personally think that season 5 will be a game changer in how they present the content and how they do the content releases and everything, and what is included in the living story. Be that for better or worse, but I think one of the points that kind of nailed that for me was early on in this video. I believe they say, let me play
Started
this.
with small things that rippled throughout the world. We knew we
Here we
wanted
go.
to bring Guild Wars.
Sorry, let me pause for a second
We
here.
want to take a chance to look back at the journey we've been on, as we've been learning and iterating on how to support and grow this game, and
We've been learning and iterating on how to support this game.
celebrate together what it is to be part of Guild Wars 2.
The devs have never, if you're a veteran of this game, if you've been here through the longevity of the seasons and everything, you also know that there's been some rough patches. There's been some rough times going through this game with the seasons. It's not always been just great, and the content was lined up and we knew when everything was coming and all that. There's a release cadence that we could all adjust to. No, the devs in season 1, after season 1, a lot of the devs burned out literally and like quit their job, and like it was just getting too much. It was too taxing. Then they moved on to season 2, which was at least a little bit more on an actual schedule. But still, it ended up like putting us in this huge like backlog, so to speak, or the devs in like this backlog where they produced a season and they didn't actually know how to manage the expansion and the season at the same time. So instead, we ended up having like immense downtime before the expansion. Then the expansion dropped, and then immense downtime after the expansion. It was horrible. It's been horrible. It's only just now gotten to the best state it's ever been in, which is still a little bit shady. But I believe that they're still working on how they want to do this, how they want to release content to us, how they want to actually present the story. And I don't believe that they believe that the expansions are the way forward. I genuinely think that they might be thinking of just going living story. And for someone like me, that's a bit disheartening. All right, let's just for a second.
From the very beginning, we knew we wanted to bring Guild Wars 2 to life, continually evolving it through new story content and features. We started with small things that rippled throughout the world, and then we went to
small things, bi-weekly content, bi-weekly releases, crazy stuff, right? Total dev burnout.
Lost Shores. We told a brand new storyline on a brand new map with a brand new feature, the Fractals of the Mists.
I love how they show the second latest or the third latest fractal because it's one of their best fractals, but this was not actually part of the...
And it just kept evolving from there.
Never mind.
We were embarking on a journey that nobody else had really tried to take before. To tell these stories that basically are richer and deeper because of the fact that they go on.
It's like watching your favorite television show, except being a part of it.
They are really hitting, like, they're taking a fucking mullet, right? And they are hammering that nail in. The nail that is living story is the best thing that ever happened, or potentially could be the best thing that's ever happened. And we're trying to sell this to you. They're trying to sell not an expansion, not the game. They're trying to sell the concept of the living story before they go on to say, Season 4 will be followed immediately by Season 5. They want to put all their eggs in the basket right now, seemingly, that's how I perceive it at least, into the living story. Watching a TV show, you're going through the episodes every 3 months.
Over the seasons, Living World has evolved constantly in terms of how we think about what the story is that we're trying to tell.
And this, right here, this quote from Tom, I think that basically nails, like, puts the nail in the coffin, I guess we could say. But too many nail references. You get it, right? It's always been an iterative process. It's always been changing, and I don't think that fact is going to change. I think that's the only constant, is that the living story is still going to change, and I don't think that Season 4 has showed to be the success that they wanted it to be, or they might need it to be. Because, let's be real here. I've spent too much time on this, but all right, here we go. Yes, I dug up all the fucking quarterly sales numbers and put them all together. You're welcome. What we have here right now, this is from the very beginning. I couldn't be asked to actually put these in, but what we have here is from the fourth quarter, of 2014, with the expansion, Heart of Thorns, all the way up till the latest quarterly release that we've had. Numbers, yay, yes, exactly. Second quarter of 2018, where we're just about to hopefully get the third quarter as well of their earnings. I did my homework indeed. We can immediately, I mean, I'm not going to necessarily say that this is the end all be all. Like, the numbers here show that the game is healthy. The numbers show that the game keeps progressing. But the issue that we've always seen, right? Let's just talk about the numbers here for a second. The game was all right. It wasn't something crazy before Heart of Thorns. Then we had the huge bump, huge interest. It's actually the biggest interest, as we'll see, over 3 quarters that we've had. That was the Heart of Thorns expansion. Then we had the drought with nothing happening here. Everyone was just getting dismayed. The sales numbers were going down. Everything was going down. Path of Fire and the living story and everything getting hype back kind of gave us a bit of a spike. The issue here is that, well, moving on from the expansion is the most crucial thing for this game, for the longevity of this game. Moving on after the expansion and actually improving your sale. This line here, which is kind of ugly. Let me show you a better one. I made this one as well. This dive is at least smaller than the Heart of Thorns release. But it needs to go much further up. It needs to be a rising curve, so to speak. Because if it's not, then it just proves that the only things that are good for this game is the expansions, basically. Fun fact, by the way, if we take the three quarters like near the three expansions, so to speak, or the two expansions, sorry. So Heart of Thorns release made here we go. Sorry, that was too much. The Heart of Thorns release made 88,578 million South Korean won. That's the US number right there. 332 million, right? Oh, sorry. All those combined. It's these three combined, right? Path of Fire. What is happening here? Somebody's yelling out of my fucking. Never mind. The Path of Fire release made a 10 million less. Yes, it has not been as lucrative just right out the gate. And the question is, well, where does that leave us? Where does that actually leave us? If the best expansion that or the expansion that ArenaNet put so much effort into making the best expansion possible, if that's not the one that's succeeding, what will? Right? That's the issue that we're faced with here. If the expansion that cost them this entire drought to happen failed, it technically did, right? Heart of Thorns has only gotten the praise and everything that it has because it's seen in the light of Path of Fire and all the other living story. Like some of the best maps we've ever had is from Heart of Thorns, but we can only see that right now because it's been polished. It's a long time ago. Like so much stuff has happened. But Path of Fire didn't hit the nail. And so the living story has to do it. The mount skins have to do it. They have to put something on the gem store to actually sell this, to actually make back that revenue. Now, the question is, for Arena, like how do they do it? How do they manage that? Are they going to bet everything? Are they going to bet everything on this 2-year release cadence of expansions, which objectively, as a veteran and as a frequent active player, both expansions have, in many regards, failed. They're great, and I love them. I would not be without them. I hugely appreciate them, but they are not the main content of this game. They are not the content that keeps me coming back. Now, let's put a pin in that thought, right? Let's put a pin in that thought for just a hot moment, right? Because what does keep us coming back? It's repeatable content, and I know this has been shouted from the top of our lungs since day one. We need more repeatable content. Give dungeons, give fractals, give raids. We want more. As an active daily player of this game, I want something that's engaging, something that has a daily reset that keeps me engaged as a player making an effort, not just a player standing in a blob. Genuinely, like, we need something. All right. That said, it has been a long time. It's been a long time since we had a raid. It has been not so long since the fractal, but the reason why I at least believe, the reason why I believe a lot of people are looking negatively at the Deepstone fractal, despite it being actually a really good fractal. Objectively, it's a really well-designed fractal with really interesting mechanics. Does it challenge us? No. But in contrast to some of the other fractals, it's right there in line with actually being a good fractal. Is it what we want? No, we want more challenges, or we just want more. Let's get back to the point of expansions then. If ArenaNet wants the next expansion to not be a flop like Heart of Thorns and Path of Fire was, in many regards, I'm not saying all. I still love the damn things. What do they do? From my point of view, from my point of view, they focus on the positives from both of those. They extend the time in between expansions. They extend the two-year mark between expansions to be longer so that they can make better content. Now, you may call me an optimist. Sure. This is just one man's opinion on a grand subject. But that's genuinely what I believe. I genuinely believe that the reason why we're going straight from season 4 to season 5 is to give them leeway to work. Give them a longer delay. So we're not looking at an October, November, September 2019 release. I know I did those out of order, but you get it. Either of those months. I don't think so. I think we might be looking at either summer or winter 2020 for expansion 3. But goddamn, it's gotta be fucking good. It's gotta be fucking good. Because if I am to be content with Living Story season 4 and 5 now, for the next year and a half, 2 years possibly, it better be on point. They better stick to raid the next release, the next Living Story release. Better have a raid. The next after that better have the fractal, and then there's gotta be a raid more, and then there's gotta be a fractal, and then a raid, and then a fractal. It's gotta be. We have to get the repeatable content into the game, or this slope is just going to get worse and worse, because people are not content with Living Story in its own. It might be that the vast majority of the Guild Wars population joins in and plays the game when there's new content, be it any content. And it might be that the most engagement that any content in this game gets is from Living Story content, because it's accessible to everyone. That might be true, but you have to look out for the rest. You have to look out for your active player base, not just the returning one. If we do not get more repeatable content, then yeah, we might not actually be around for expansion 3, which would be sad. Or a lot of us might not. I probably still will. Still. Anyways, let's backtrack a little bit, because this is how I see it. I do not believe for a second, just too long didn't read, I do not believe for a second that ArenaNet is working on Guild Wars 3. I believe they are working on an expansion that they want to make better than the other ones. Something that will stand out more than the rest. But to do so, they have to add time to their own schedule, and they still have to appease the community. So they have to stick with the Living Story module, or whatever we'll call it. And does that mean that expansion level features and all that coming with the Living Story is a bad thing? No, it doesn't. It only means more quality for us as the players, because we will have those things to engage with. They will hopefully try to at least keep us more engaged in the scene by giving us these features, by giving us a lot of things to do, a lot of be it whatever, right? A lot of people feel it's stagnating. A lot of people will right now be throwing around the meme that is dead game. Dead game. Dead. You hear everyone screaming it. It is a dangerous meme. However funny it might be, it is a dangerous meme to throw around in a game that you like. We've talked about this previously on another morning series talk. The dead game meme is dangerous for a game that you really like, because the chance that let me put it in another way. When it comes to a subjective matter of whether or not a game is alive or dead, it doesn't really matter what the actual truth is, what the numbers are, when those numbers aren't available to us. That an opinion like that, or a saying like that, like dead game, or yes, an opinion, so to speak, becomes an actual opinion. It becomes a perspective. Truth becomes subjective when the actual truth does not exist. So if you shout dead game and people listen, they will spread that same meme. And some people, I'm not saying everyone, some people will believe it and it will catch on. It'll stick to it. You'll suddenly see it on forums. You'll suddenly see it spouted as truth. There's a psychological maneuver that we do, which is basically, it boils down to the fact that the more you hear any sentence, any discourse uttered, the more likely you are to believe it as truth. And that's extremely dangerous when it comes to politics, but also when it comes to dead memes or memes in general. Guild Wars 1 died after 6 years, true, but that does not mean Guild Wars 2 will do the same. Sun's Refuge does not bode the end for this game. The Sun's Refuge is not a Hall of Monuments. We don't know what it is. I don't even know if it's a Hall of Monuments. I don't know why I'm saying it's not a Hall of Monument. I don't know. We don't know what it is. The Sun's Refuge will be probably introduced as a way to keep us occupied. And that is not a joke. That's literally how I perceive this. It is a way to keep us occupied, probably with a huge gold sink, probably with a huge gem store sink, and that's all right. That's all right. Add content. It doesn't really matter what kind of form it takes. It does. But it doesn't really, in many regards. If all you want is, well, funding for the next expansion. But yeah, people feel like the game is stagnating because a lot of people are saying that it's stagnating. There is immense amounts of people playing this game. You know, when you go to the LFG, you can see people are playing it. You can see people in World vs. World. You can see people in the maps that are actually worth going to. And you cannot say that, oh, but if I go to Gandaren, what is it even called? Gandaren, whatever. What's it called? Jesus Christ, I can't even remember the maps of this game. Gandaren Fields. I thought about Gandaren Fields. Anyways, if I go to Gandaren Fields and I don't see anyone around, the game is dead. No, that's not how this works. This game it's not structured around everyone being everywhere. It's structured around letting people go from zone to zone to the most active zone. It's why we have the timers. It's why we have the world boss timers. It's why we have all timers for everything. It's so that the population, the main population of the game, will continue to move all over the place, doing dungeons, doing fractals, being an instance, doing whatever. Don't go to a dead map and say that the game is dead just because it's the wrong time. It's not fair. It's not fair. But obviously, as it goes, in between episodes, there will always be downslopes of player engagement. It's inevitable. People will leave the game for a while and come back. It's inevitable. It does not mean the game is dead. It does not mean the community is gone. That's just how it is. Wait, hold up. The real issue, as far as I see it, because we can talk about memes all day and it'll be fun and whatnot, and dead game memes and all that, whatever. The real issue is the fact that we don't have a roadmap. We never have, and apparently we never will. We don't have a roadmap. We, the players, don't know what's happening. It's very easy for our imaginations to run wild in either direction, like be it positive or negative. It's extremely easy to let our imaginations just run amok, which sometimes happens, pretty often happens, because we're left to our own devices. We see something on the forums, we see something on Reddit, we see an interview like this. And what do we do? We get a little bit scared because we might be reading a little bit into it. We might be seeing, well, they're saying something about the season 5, but why are they not saying something about the expansion? Well, because they haven't talked about the expansion. This is not their time to announce it. But we still look at that. We look at the what's it called? The void. The information that's missing. Because we want all the information. We want to know the roadmap. We want to know. I want to know where this game is going. I genuinely do. I really want to know. Is there an expansion coming? What's going to happen this season? What am I going to spend the next year on in this game? I don't know. Because ArenaNet doesn't tell me. They've never really told me. And for a lot of veterans, myself, I can talk from my own perspective. Me as a veteran, and there's a lot of people in that same boat, but me as a veteran, I played everything. There's nothing really I can do that I can go for that's not just redundant. Like redundant rewards, redundant gold, redundant skins, like everything's there. I already have it. It's already in the game. They literally need to add new stuff into the game for me to even feel like there's a goal for it. And that's how I feel. I think a lot of people feel and have felt for a long while. Like there's no goal. I don't know what I'm working towards. Like I can sit here and work towards a legendary that I've never seen, like the scepter, the longbow, or the greatsword. Everything's ready. I have everything for it. Where's the greatsword? It's just not in the game. And I don't know if it's ever really actually going to be in the game. I have no actual confirmation that those things are going to be in the game. And that's frustrating. It's frustrating to not have a roadmap to work from. It's frustrating to not know what's going to happen. And that leads to frustrations, people getting dissatisfied with your game, with your product, because if I'm putting my heart and soul into this, why am I not getting anything back? Can you at least talk sometimes? And it feels like we're getting shut out as a community at times. And we talked about this last time, I think, actually. But if you get to the point, and I think I'll end it on there, but if you get to the point where you're emotionally getting truly distressed with the game, the lack of information, the lack of any particular kind of content that you want to see more of, take a break. It's time. Take a break. Right now is the best time to do it. It is true. Because we're in between seasons. We're in between anything happening, really. So rather take a break than stay in the game, not knowing what to do or what to go for. Sit back, play another game. Just for a while. Come back later. It's probably going to be better for you, man. Or lads or ladies. Because it is a great game. But it's easy to get frustrated with it. It truly is. And I believe it all boils down to the lack of a roadmap, the lack of communication in many regards. So yeah. I feel like that's a good note to end it on. Thank you for listening to my monologue here.